What is going on, guys? Welcome to FTV Family Time Vlogs Dad Talk. I recently came across this story pretty much when it broke, and I've been so intrigued by it and everything. I just wanted to come on here and share everything that I've been finding with everyone. Those of you who don't know, I'm sure you're about to know, or you'll hear a lot soon. There's a vessel that's privately funded by a company called Ocean Gate, and the CEO and pretty much inventor of this vessel is Stockton Rush. He helped create a vessel that can reach the depths of the Titanic. And basically what this vessel does for around $250,000 for thrill seekers, explorers, and pretty much lifestyles of the rich and famous, it will take you down to the depths of the Titanic and show you around the wreckage in person. So basically what happened was, within 2 hours of this particular voyage, they lost all communications with the surface. It's lost at sea. We're utilizing so many resources to find this little vessel that's lost, and it could be anywhere. We're trying to find these people on board. I want to tell you about the 5 passengers on board right now. First off, we have British billionaire Hamish Harding. Has a very vocal son on social media that doesn't really seem to mind his father's disappearance whatsoever. There's posts at him at a Blink-182 concert. He says music is healing for him. And then there's also people are finding that he's posting and commenting on OnlyFans pages and whatnot during the midst of his father's disappearance. Okay, Hamish Harding is also an explorer that has once taken Elon Musk's space shuttle to space. So he's definitely an adventurist. The company that actually does these tours, they're for thrill seekers and rich people. They're not a tourist kind of thing. Also on board we have Pakistani tycoon Shahzada Dawood. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I'm very sorry. His son is also on board with him. His name is Salman Dawood. He has a lot of businesses, makes a lot of money, and he's also married to one of the richest families in Pakistan. And then we have the man behind it all, the genius, Ocean Gate Expedition CEO, Stockton Rush. We will hear a lot more of this man coming up. In his early life, he was obsessed with air and space, but he had bad eyesight, so he became a pilot tester, and then he took his skills to the ocean, where he's very fond of the ocean. Then we also have French submarine professional and operator Paul Henry Negoulet. He is nicknamed Mr. Titanic himself. He has taken more expeditions to go see the Titanic pretty much than anybody in the world. So those of you who are wondering what this vessel is like, what it looks like, I'm sure you saw pictures, but maybe you haven't seen a tour of it itself. Here is Mr. Stockton Rush showing a tour of his own vessel.
Let's take a look at Titan. So we're coming into the sub. This is the only toilet available on a deep diving submersible. Best seat in the house. You can look out the viewport. We put a privacy screen in, turn up the music, and it's very popular. We have our control screen here, our sonar screen here, and we can put any image we want in the back. We've taken a completely new approach to the sub design, and it's all run with this game controller and these touch screens. So if you want to go forward, you press forward. If you want to go back, you go back. Turn left, turn right, go down, go up. And it's Bluetooth, so I can hand it to anybody. And it's meant for a 16-year-old to throw it around, and super durable. We keep a couple of spares on board just in case.
Okay, so there's a lot of memes going on about the whole controller situation. I myself, personally, I don't mind. I know it's a multi-million-dollar, if not billion-dollar vessel, and you're running off a controller. It sounds a little weird, but at the same time, it's subnautics, and it's kind of hard to run wiring into the vessel itself to get a steering wheel and a throttle and whatnot. Most of the components are on the outside because you can't let the pressure get into the vessel, otherwise. So controlling it from the inside to the out seems like the best idea would be a controller. That's just me. The video I show you next is the first video that I saw that kind of intrigued me and made me go, So let's watch that. This is a private tour done by Stockton Rush for a reporter. And, yeah, let's watch this.
An experimental submersible vessel that has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, or death. Where do I sign?
Not me.
Oh! Take your shoes off, that's customary.
Okay. Wow. Inside, the sub has about as much room as a minivan.
So this is not your grandfather's submersible. We only have one button, that's it. It should be like an elevator. You know, it shouldn't take a lot of skill.
The Titan is the only 5-person sub in the world that can reach Titanic depths, 2.4 miles below the sea. It's also the only one with a toilet. Sort of. And yet, I couldn't help noticing how many pieces of this sub seemed improvised.
We can use these off-the-shelf components. I got these from Camper World. We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Come on!
My reactions were pretty much the reporter's reactions as well. You know, it's fascinating though, this whole story and everything. So, basically what happened was, within 2 hours of its expedition to go down and see the Titanic, it lost communication with its mothership. There's a ship above where they go down, and it's its mothership. It kind of guides it and everything. This is the first video that I was able to find by sources of what happened exactly when they lost communication. So let's watch this. This is very interesting as well.
One of my sources has reported that about the time that they lost comms, or just before they lost comms, that they reported they were trying to release ballast. What that means to me is they were heavy. They were descending faster than they were supposed to. So they were trying to get rid of weight. That's ballast. They were trying to get rid of weight. What could have caused that? Again, maybe there was a computer glitch and their thrusters got stuck in down and they were driving themselves down faster than they needed to and couldn't fix that. Or they suffered an incursion into the hull, so we had water coming in. That may have shorted out the electronics.
That is what interested me. When I watched that, I said to myself, I don't even think they made it down. The most sensible thing out of the whole thing was, he said maybe water leaked into the bow where the electronics are, and the electronics shorted out, comm went out and everything, and maybe it continued its dive and dove down to the bottom. And here's where the story gets a little bit more interesting. Supposedly the vessel is fail-proof, so there's multiple ways for it to go back up, even if all power has been lost. Listen to Stockton Rush explain it himself.
The control lines of the thrusters. This is the drop weight mechanism. So this is what we put these 24-inch long steel pipe, sewer pipe that you can get anywhere in the world, and they weigh 37 pounds. And we feed them in there, and then that actuator runs a geared mechanism. We dump the pipe one by one. So almost every sub has something you got to dump. If that system, if that electrical system fails, because this is pretty critical to getting back to the surface, you can get back with the buoyancy bag, which you can see. You can see the bottom of it here. There's basically a bag, and that black high-pressure tank back there feeds the 10,000 psi air into the bag. Well, 10,000 psi will barely fill the bag. It's about 2/3 full at Titanic depth. When you get to about 3,000 meters, it gets it totally full, and it's way more than you need on the surface. So that's one method of getting to the surface, but we typically weight the sub very heavily to get down, and we'll load 6 weights in there, and we'll drop 4 of them to get back to the surface. If that system failed, so you had a complete electrical failure and you can't activate those things, this is a hydraulic cylinder that goes into the cabin, and there's a hand pump. 10,000 psi hand pump. So all you gotta do is open a valve, and you pump this, and it pushes the pin, and this whole system drops off. So this, and all of this, and all the lead down here can be dropped in an absolute emergency, so you can get to the surface.
So, after hearing that, I'm like, okay, they might be up in the sea, and they're just lost at sea. Because it's easy to be lost at sea. The ocean's huge. The problem with that is there's no way for them to get out of the vessel. The vessel is bolted from the outside, and they would need tools, proper tools and everything, and somebody from the outside to actually open the vessel back up because of the pressure that it's designed to take. So it's possible that it did make its way up and that it's lost at sea, although there's been a lot of ground covered from aerial and whatnot, and they still haven't found it. It could have been where it did nosedive all the way, make its way to the bottom, and got stuck on something, and it won't allow it to go back up. Now, that also intrigued me to what's going on down there, and I'm sure a lot of you are curious as to if they are at the bottom of the ocean, what the heck is it like? Well, that question was asked to Mr. Nargalet himself, and he had this to say about it.
You can survive for a while because you can stay about 4 or 5 days on the bottom, which not help very much. Because if nobody can help you, and that 5 days is with the oxygen, with the food, with the water and everything like that, but we know very well that we will die before with the temperature. Because the real problem at this depth is the temperature, because the water temperature is 33 degrees or something like that. And if you are in the sub and nothing is running anymore, making some heat, it's very cold. Even if we have some equipment and blah, 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 after a while you dive because of the cold, which is not a bad way to dive because you fall in sleep and it's not, you don't suffer in this case. We know that, but we never think that could happen, it never come to our head. But the pilot has to be very careful, because especially on a wreck. A wreck is a dangerous environment. When you are on the bottom, we're doing geology or biology, I will say there is no danger, no specific danger. But when you work around a wreck, it's dangerous.
So I just wanted to share all these interesting videos that I came across and kind of let you guys know more in-depth things without having to search crazy for these things. With that said, I do want to end the vlog with Stockton Rush and a couple other videos that I found interesting. Let's play them.
Submersible is one of the safest forms of transportation in the world.
You believe the Cyclops 2 is pretty much invulnerable.
By the time we're done testing it, I believe it's pretty much invulnerable.
And that's pretty much what they said about the Titanic.
That's right. And I will go on all the first dives, put my money where my mouth is.
And lastly, guys, to end the vlog, I just want to show what Mr. Stockton Rush wants to be remembered for if he's not to be found.
I'd like to be remembered as an innovator. I think it was General MacArthur said, you're remembered for the rules you break. And, I've broken some rules to make this. I think I've broken them with logic and good engineering behind me. The carbon fiber and titanium, there's a rule you don't do that. Well, I did. It's picking the rules that you break that are the ones that will add value to others and add value to society. And that really, to me, is about innovation. It's not invention. Innovation is when you take an invention and you make it, accepted broadly. And maybe think of ocean exploration the way everybody thinks of space exploration. Because this is where we're going to find the strange new life forms. And the future of mankind is underwater. It's not on Mars. We're not going to have a base on Mars or the moon. We'll try and we'll waste a lot of money. We will have a base underwater because when the sun extinguishes, there will still be hydrothermal vents, and there will still be those life forms down there that are living off of chemosynthesis that don't need the sun. You know, if we trash this planet, the best lifeboat for mankind is underwater.
So what do you guys think? You guys find this story as interesting as I did? I hope that shed some light on what's going on, and I hope I showed you videos that maybe you haven't seen yet, and I just wanted to piece it together a little bit better than how I found them all scattered around the internet. My thoughts and prayers go out to the 5 souls on board, the families of them, and I hope they're found safe. And rest in peace if not. Alright guys, I'm ending the vlog here. Yeah. Peace.